With the arrest of the man who was responsible for the death of Tupac Shakur, many felt that there's someone else who should be facing a judge and jury. Hip-hop heavyweight P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy back then, had been linked to the man responsible for carrying out the hit against Tupac. He was even apparently willing to finance the hit with up to $1 million, and it's much been rumored that he had something to do with it. But the man who was apparently responsible and was arrested for his role in the shooting went on a press tour tell-all with multiple media platforms, basically explaining Diddy's involvement all the way from the beginning, man.
That after Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed T.K. Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah. The fans said that too.
We gotta talk about the situation that went down and whether or not Diddy is ultimately responsible for ending Tupac on the night in September of 1996, man. We gotta tap in right now, but before we do, I'm gonna need you to like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna run this video, man. Make sure y'all check out the merch link in the description at staysaferworld.com. You already know what's going on. Let's get it. By now, you know the now infamous situation that killed Tupac in September of 1996. However, you probably didn't know that Diddy's involvement in this incident actually spans back a number of years before this. Keefe D, also known as Dwayne Davis, was a top shotter in the Southside Compton Crips gang in LA County. During the height of the East Coast vs West Coast feud, shortly after Pac got shot at Quad Studios, there was heightened tension between both sides of the rap universe. Diddy apparently needed protection in the city of LA, and he couldn't trust the likes of Suge and other members of Blood factions due to Suge's pull in the city, and he essentially had to go to their ops. It all started when Diddy rented a lowrider car for Usher's music video, his first music video actually, and came into contact with Keefe D, the now infamous mob boss. Keefe D wasn't just some random gangbanger or nobody. He was known throughout the West Coast as a top enforcer and the head of the Compton Crips. Prior to the crazy shooting incident, Diddy and Tupac had an alright relationship. They were both on the rise, with Tupac slowly breaking superstar status while Diddy's artist Biggie was making waves too. They did trade some type of jabs and back and forth, with Suge Knight going on at the Source Awards basically dissing Diddy in front of the whole world while getting an award.
I'd like to tell Tupac to keep his guards up. We ride with him. And one other thing I'd like to say, any artists out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
But then they seemed to make sort of inroads in their relationship until the fateful night when Pac was shot multiple times at Quad Studios. Biggie and P. Diddy were also there and were apparently supposed to meet up with Pac, and he was apparently feeling like he was set up in an attempted robbery that ended with him getting shot 5 times. This turned the relationship sour because, as I said before, Pac felt like he was set up on that night. On top of the fact later, he was sent to jail for over a year for sexual assault, so they never got a chance to really work out their differences. They traded songs that fans said that were disses and basically fanned the flames of their relationship, with Biggie dropping Who Shot Y'all basically right after this whole incident, even though it was apparently written months in advance. And guess whose idea was to drop that song in the first place? It was Diddy. It was at this point that it seems like there was an agreement between multiple parties like Keefe D and the LAPD officer Greg Kading, who initially did the first interview where Keefe D came out and actually said what really happened in detail, that this is the point where P. Diddy randomly decided to insert himself at the beat at the expense of his biggest artist Biggie. It seems that it was an all-time high crash out move, but he ordered and offered $1 million for anyone willing to take out Tupac.
By Orlando Anderson, who's a member of the Southside Crips.
Exactly. Now, earlier you said that Puffy put out this claim of, you know, I'll pay $1 million if you get rid of Tupac and Suge. Tupac is now gone. What happened in terms of Keefe, Orlando, and Diddy at this point?
So immediately in the aftermath, Diddy hears about the shooting, finds out that there's, Tupac's been shot and he's in the hospital in Las Vegas. And according to Keefe D, he gets a phone call. He's actually with Zip, the intermediary, and they're back in LA, and Zip takes a phone call, and it's Puffy on the other end of the line, hands the phone to Keefy D, and Puffy asks him, man, was that us? Was it, what just happened out there? Keefy D's like, yeah.
Both Keefy D and Greg Hading both agree on that much. Fast forward to the night of the shooting, there was a fateful brawl that basically involved Orlando Anderson and Tupac and Suge Knight. This is where Las Vegas police, however, say that Keefy D apparently produced a gun that was used and even ordered the hit on some street general type shit. They said it in their most recent press conference.
To the retaliatory shooting and death of Tupac Shakur. Following this incident, Tupac and Suge Knight both left the MGM to make their way to a post-fight party, which was to occur at a local nightclub. At the same time, word had spread amongst members of the Southside Compton Crips of what had occurred inside the MGM, and then that's when Dwayne Davis began to devise a plan to obtain a firearm and retaliate against Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur for what occurred inside the hotel against Mr. Anderson. After Davis obtained a gun, he entered into a white Cadillac along with Terrence Brown, DeAndre Smith, and Orlando Anderson. Based on our investigation, this is where we know they were seated. At some point in time, as they were in the white Cadillac, Mr. Davis took the gun that he had obtained and provided it to the passengers in the rear seat of the vehicle. As they were driving west on Flamingo Road near Koval, they located the black BMW, which was driven by Suge Knight, and in the passenger seat was Tupac Shakur. And as they turned around, they pulled up near the passenger side of that vehicle and immediately began shooting at Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur.
However, Keefy D's versions of the events differ at this point because he says that he was provided his gun by an accomplice who was also riding in the car known as Zip, the same person who apparently received the $1 million later from Diddy. According to Keefy D, they pulled up alongside Tupac's car where Tupac began pulling out a gun. Keefy D says he ducked down and the occupants in his car, specifically Orlando Anderson, began shooting at Tupac in self-defense, hitting him multiple times and hitting Suge in the head with a bullet fragmentation. Police say he was the one who called for the hit and told him to shoot. Immediately after the shooting, they got to LA, basically facing an all-out green light situation with Mob Piru, who was backing Tupac, and Suge Knight's basically the head of that, definitely looking to retaliate in some fashion. And it was at this point that P. Diddy apparently called, and after saying the news of what had happened, he asked them, was that us?
In the book, you said the third day after getting back from Vegas, you guys met up with Zip in LA.
At Wingstop.
At Wingstop.
Yeah. Not Wingstop, but Hot Wings. LA Hot Wings.
Yeah. And I guess you said that Puffy called and said, was that us? And you didn't say nothing.
I didn't say that.
There's also, you go into the book, that apparently there was supposed to be $1 million that Zip was supposed to bring back, but he ended up keeping the money and buying the nightclub.
That's what the FBI said.
The FBI said that.
3 haunting words that will go down in history. Greg Kading's version of events say that Keefy D responded yes and said that was us, while Keefy D says that he didn't say anything in return and just hung up the phone. And following this whole scenario, apparently P. Diddy, after this, made him do on his promise with the $1 million that he apparently gave to Zip. But that ties into the whole reason why Biggie was dead too, because this guy, Keefy D, was actually there when Biggie got killed too. What are the coincidences? It's just so crazy. Apparently, an after party turned sour in LA and basically resulted in Biggie getting shot. But at that same after party, Keefy D says that he talked to Diddy and was asking about the $1 million, but then Diddy said that the feds were on his case too much and they couldn't really meet and talk about it, especially with everything that had happened to Pop and everything that was currently going on. That whole situation with Biggie is a whole nother story. It is connected though, because basically P. Diddy was looking to crash out by any means possible, definitely wasn't thinking rational, and was basically putting money down in a kill or be killed situation, but didn't really think about putting that same money into securing himself and his artists, because it ultimately ended with both of these artists getting gunned down in very similar fashions. The crazy thing about all this though is that P. Diddy, people really think has something to do with this whole situation, and it seems that multiple sources have basically said this. 3 different people have basically said this, man. So it's not like this is just coming out of nowhere, and it's not like this type of situation just will go away for him, especially after Keefy D just got arrested for this whole situation right there. It's definitely probably gonna come out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets investigated for something, you know. It wouldn't be surprising, but he's gone on this far, it could be some type of just miscommunication or something like that. But if you really look back at the time, it was a real kill or be killed scenario, because if he didn't do the first move, then someone else probably would have did the same thing to him. So can you really even blame them in the war that was basically going on between the East and West Coast? I mean, you can't really, man. That's the crazy thing about it. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about this situation. You think this is just a rumor, a conspiracy, or do you think that there is some basis behind it, man? Real say shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Peace.